She stood at Marcus's door with tears streaming down her face. I watched her through the window before she knocked, watched her check her makeup in her phone's camera, watched her take 3 deep breaths like she was preparing for a performance, like this was rehearsed. "Please," she said when I finally opened the door, "we need to talk." I didn't move from the doorway. "There's nothing to talk about, Jessica. You can't just throw away 2 years because I asked you to make one choice." One choice. The words hung between us like smoke. Behind me, I heard Marcus's wheelchair approaching, the familiar electric hum that had become the soundtrack of my new life, the life I'd chosen when she forced my hand 3 weeks ago. "Everything okay?" Marcus called out. "Fine," I said, still staring at her. "Just someone who got lost." It started the night of the accident. Marcus had been my best friend since we were 7. We'd done everything together, survived middle school, shared an apartment in college, stood beside each other at his wedding. When the drunk driver hit him on his way home from his anniversary dinner, I was the first person the hospital called. His wife left him 6 months into recovery, couldn't handle the new reality, she said, couldn't live with someone who'd never walk again. I became his primary caregiver because that's what brothers do. Blood doesn't make family, loyalty does. Jessica came into my life a year after that, beautiful, charming, understanding. She said she admired how dedicated I was to Marcus, said it showed character. I should have known better. "He makes me uncomfortable," she said over dinner 3 weeks ago, her voice soft, reasonable. "I know what he means to you, but I need to feel like I'm your priority." I set down my fork. "He's paralyzed, Jess. He needs help with everything." "And what about what I need?" She reached across the table. "I love you, but I can't build a future with someone who's already committed their life to someone else." The ultimatum arrived like a blade between my ribs. Choose. I chose Marcus, moved into his guest room that same night, blocked her number before she could bargain or beg. But something about the timing bothered me. Marcus's insurance settlement had just been finalized, $2 million, enough to cover his lifetime care, adaptive home modifications, everything he'd need. The local paper had run a story about it, about resilience, about justice for victims. I remembered Jessica asking about it, asking if Marcus had family who'd inherit if anything happened to him. I told her he'd named me as his primary beneficiary and medical power of attorney. His ex-wife had taken everything in the divorce that she could. He had no children, no siblings, just me. Jessica's eyes had flickered with something when I said it, something I'd mistaken for concern. Now I recognized it as calculation. I started going through old messages, found deleted conversations she'd tried to hide, found browser history on the laptop we shared. How to prove unfit caregiver. Can you contest a beneficiary designation? Getting someone declared mentally incompetent. My blood turned to ice. The detective was expensive but thorough. He came back with photos 3 days before she showed up at the door. Jessica and another man, meeting at a hotel, same room every Thursday for 4 months, the months she'd claimed she had late work meetings. But that wasn't the worst part. The detective dug deeper. The man was a lawyer, a state law specialist. They'd been planning it together. Get me to abandon Marcus by forcing the ultimatum, let Marcus become desperate, isolated. Then she'd graciously reach out to him, offer to coordinate his care, build trust, get him to change his beneficiary designation while I was out of the picture. If that didn't work, they had a backup plan. Prove I was neglectful, force a competency hearing, argue Marcus couldn't make sound decisions, have her boyfriend appointed as conservator. Either way, they'd position themselves to access that $2 million. The detective showed me emails, financial projections, a timeline. I sat there in Marcus's living room reading how the woman I'd almost loved had calculated the exact dollar value of my best friend's tragedy. "You're making a mistake," Jessica said now, still standing at the threshold. I pulled out my phone, opened the folder, showed her the first photo. Her face went white. "I can explain." "No need." My voice was steady, calm. "I know about Trevor, the estate lawyer. I know about the whole plan." She grabbed the doorframe. "I know you never loved me. I know you saw Marcus's settlement and saw opportunity. I know you thought you could manipulate me into abandoning him, then swoop in and play savior. That's not— I've already sent everything to the State Bar Association. Trevor's under investigation for ethical violations, conspiracy to commit fraud." Her knees buckled slightly. "I also contacted Marcus's insurance company. They've flagged any future attempts to change his beneficiary as suspicious, and I've retained our own attorney." I stepped closer. "You tried to weaponize my loyalty. You tried to isolate a disabled man so you could rob him." Tears fell, but they looked different now, not rehearsed, real. "Please," she whispered, "I made a mistake. I'm sorry." "You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught." I closed the door, heard her sobbing on the other side, listened until her footsteps faded down the driveway. Marcus rolled up beside me. "You okay?" "Yeah, I meant it. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." He nodded, understood without needing more. That night, I deleted every photo of her from my phone, every message, every trace. Some people see tragedy as an opportunity. Some people see weakness as an opening. But loyalty isn't weakness, and the only thing I crushed was the illusion that she was ever worth my time. I chose right. I'd choose the same way again, every single time.